What's up, owners? This is your host, Ray Grandoit of Own Your Inspiration, where we take ownership, accountability, and responsibility of our lives. And of course, today we have a special guest who's done that and then some. We have Adam Lucio in the building, in the cam, in the virtual world with us today. And not only is Adam adapting and achieving, he's a football player, a tennis player, a basketball player. My man is an actor in commercials and all that, an influencer. And most importantly, my man's a father. What's up, Adam? How's it do?
What's
How's it going?
you having me, dog? Man, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to top that intro. That was the best one I've ever had yet, man. Appreciate that.
Nah, my pleasure, my pleasure. You know, we go way back, Adam, man. It's happy to have you
Yeah,
back on again on Own
appreciate
Your Inspiration. You've been rocking with me and going through this process with me as I'm growing and you're growing, and I'm so
it.
happy that you joined us today, man. So for people who don't know, man, who is Adam Lucio?
Man, I hold a lot of hats. I do a lot of things, bro. I like to say I'm just an average guy. I don't like to say I mean anything special than anyone else, but I do a lot of things. I do have a lot of positions. I'm an adaptive athlete. Um, and then I play all any wheelchair sport, almost any wheelchair sport you imagine. I play wheelchair basketball. I play wheelchair football for the Dallas Cowboys wheelchair football team. I play wheelchair softball, wheelchair tennis. I got a couple of hand cycles that I rock with, a road bike and a off-road bike, and then I do commercial acting. So when I'm not working out or doing something like that, I'm out there trying to get gigs, trying to get my name out there to get in that scene as well. I'm a tennis coach back home, so that's what I do for my. I guess my 9 to 5 would be a tennis coach if you want to label me that. But I do a lot of things, so I'm just a little bit of here and there.
So tell me a little bit more about the sports, right? So I played sports and
Yep.
I failed. And it was hard for me to get back into shape. And actually, I have to give you your flowers. Our last conversation, I know it was a few years ago. So you encouraged me to get back in the gym. So now I'm in the gym. I'm rock climbing. I'm hand cycling, swimming. And you said something along the lines is like, yo, just start somewhere and work your way up, which I did. It took me about a year, but I've been like 4 or 5 months strong consistently. So what made you become an athlete and then stay consistent not only in one sport, you have several sports. So you're talking, let's just say someone's newly injured and they watching you, they're like, yo, Adam, like, yo, this is you Superman. This is impossible. How am I gonna be able to do all the things you're doing? Because I just like take a step back for a second. It may be a long time, maybe 15 years. Take a step back and say, okay, how did you develop that love for sports, and why did you continue to keep growing in whichever sport and then continue to add on more sports?
Right. I don't know if you can relate, man, but there's just some things that you just have a natural knack for. You know what I mean? They're just kind of you kind of fall in very organically, and you don't have to really change yourself or your personality or worry about your impression around other people because you're just being 100% authentic, right? And for me, competitiveness and being on the playing field is that for me. I'm just 100% natural. I do get the butterflies in the nerves sometimes in my stomach, but I mean it's not because I'm afraid of playing. It's because I want to win. It's because I'm trying to succeed and compete at the highest level. But I feel like I've just always been like a natural athlete, man. I feel like if I was an able body, I would have played a lot of things too in school and maybe been a college athlete as an able bodied person as well. But I just feel like sports has always welcomed me and that's somewhere where I could have shown the parity between me and able bodied kids growing up, right? Because we always, or I can't speak for you, but for myself, I always faced like a stereotype or a stigma, right? That I was in a chair and that I couldn't do much, right? And that was like a chip on my shoulder. I hated that. Rolling into the door and everybody already kind of like looking at me a little bit less, like a little demeaning, right? So the basketball court was my place to shine and my place where we were all equal because I could make them just like they could. You got me?
Oh, there you go. I lost you for a second, just for a second.
Are,
Are you back? You back
are
now?
you
You
good?
back? You said when we're all equal, and that's where you your internet just a
Yeah,
little bit.
that's, that's we're all equal. So I grew up in a spot where we didn't have a lot of adaptive sports. We didn't have wheelchair sports. It was very slow in that sense of progression, right? We didn't have that kind of resources when I was a kid. So I was playing all my sports with able-bodied kids and walking kids, the normal kids in the playground, but I was the only wheelchair guy.
So tell me about the benefits, right? So because there has to be some level of benefits that you take from sports to keep wanting to do more. So from my perspective, like yes, I'm very I do have that like oh give like let's go competitive edge. But there's another level to play football, wheelchair football. Like what that's a shift. A big shift.
Right, right.
So what
I,
what like what are the benefits to say okay I play tennis okay I can see how I can see that basketball I can see that but then to the next level
okay,
okay let's do some football like in a
yeah, and
wheelchair.
yeah. So as far as like health benefits, I mean, I feel like they're continuous, man. Like the more you're active, the body in motion stays in motion, right? So if you're gonna be up there moving, you're used to you getting the sweat on, you're used to, get your blood pumping. You're gonna wanna your body gets attached to that. It yearns for it, it craves it, right? So
Yeah.
once you start working out regularly and getting those endorphins in, your body wants to continuously do that. So I feel like that's what I'm kind of going through right now, to where like there's different seasons to where I'm not doing much, and I'm like, man, I'm looking at all these people play softball. I can do that too. Oh, there's a football season. I can do that too. Let's jump into football, right? So football is a little bit different, like you said, compared to all the sports because it's such heavy contact, and it's different than any adaptive sport I've ever played. So it's full contact. We wear helmets, and it's 7-on-7, kind of like a high school football, right? So um, I feel like to play that, you really have to have like I said, the competitiveness, but also a little bit of aggression because it's a rough sport. So you got to be able to take your hits and to dish them out too.
so so that's what I'm saying. So what's your favorite sport? Because to jump into that, I think so. I guess you answered it, but I wanna help the audience understand. So there was definitely I'm just this is me hearing you. There was definitely
Right,
a stepping stone of each sport and the benefits, as you said, the endorphins. You get
right,
addicted to it, and you just kept uplifting and rising up and just wanting more, whether it be a
right.
challenge or trying something new. And so from that, you took on football. And so with football, where was uh the moment where you're like, oh man, like this is it? Because I think did you guys win the championship for your
Not yet.
division?
We're playing for, well, we won a tournament, and we're playing for the Super Bowl in February. So we had a really good. Our first season was really well. We finished 13-2, and then this season we finished 15-2. Right. So
Wow.
um, sorry, 13-3 the first season, 15-2 this season because we lost one less game. So I feel like, yeah, man, football like really opened my eyes. It's like I always wanted to play. For those don't know my injury or how I got injured, I was injured when I was 5 months old, right? So I have been in a wheelchair all my life, and I never got that opportunity to play able-bodied football. And I'm from West Texas, where it's huge, right? So you got the Friday night lights. Everybody shows up to the stadium on Fridays, and I mean, they wear the shirts. Like football is like a culture over here, right? So that's something that I've always embraced, and I always loved watching it. But I never got to play because obviously chairs don't go on grass, and you can't tackle wheelchairs, right? So there's just the resources and the people, the participants weren't there. But the league is on its fourth year now, and this is my team's second season. So I feel like it's kind of new for all of us. So which helps. We're all learning. It's all a transition for us because it's not like there's veterans in the game, right?
Yeah.
The longest veteran I had is a 4 year vet because that's how long that's how old the league is. So it's kind of new for everybody, and we're just kind of taking it as it comes.
And so, what's your favorite sport then, and how, or is it just every sport is different? And what this sport that you feel like brings the
Every,
best out of you?
every sport is definitely different, and I like them for different reasons. But basketball is always my passion. I love basketball since I was a kid, since I can dribble the ball, right? And I got the privilege to play collegiately with you, is where I met you, and I met a lot of great people in basketball. So I would say basketball is my favorite, but football is really catching up. It's really close.
Yeah, I'm starting to see that. I was like, man, I don't know. I don't know if I could play football. To me, I guess I don't know. Maybe one day I probably would try it, but I don't know. I think to me, it's like, man, it's just so, I don't know, it's kind of violent. You got to be really,
There's
it's
a
a special
barrier that
breed.
there's a mental block. There's a mental barrier to where you got to like, okay, I'm gonna commit and put my body in there and do what I got to do. But at first, you don't want to like dive into it like that. You're like, I'm just gonna see how it goes. And to that first person lays a hit on you, and you're like, well, hold up, hold up, I can do that too. So now I'm going back at them, right? So that's how it kind of warmed me up. Kind of like welcome to the league moment, right? Someone hits you real good, and you're just like, oh, we like that. Okay, so yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, I would have to give you your flowers because you definitely have been the message that you bring. You've been adapting and achieving. So for the way I'm looking at it, like you said, you was in a car accident, in a wheelchair, and then you adapt, then you achieved, and then you went to college, you play ball, but not only play ball, then you play tennis. Okay, you play tennis, then now you play football, then you play football. Oh no, I also hand cycle too. So it's like you're adapting and achieving in all these areas. Can you talk about uh the the achieving part? Like what is your, I guess, best accomplishment or recent accomplishment of yet?
Um,
So I seen you received an award from the Texas.
yeah, yeah. I'll get. I would say a big leap. A big leap that I took was leaving. I used to work at a Boys and Girls Club. I was a unit director at a Boys and Girls Club, and that was like an 8 to 5, 8 to 8 kind of job. I was there all day, after school, running programs, doing things like that for the kids in the community, and I loved it. I love my job. I love the people that I work with. But I knew that if I was really trying to pursue my commercial gigs and my acting, they couldn't let me leave as often as I needed to, right? I couldn't go and shoot those commercials just on the fly, right? I had to ask permission. So that's when I kind of knew I'm like, hey, if I'm gonna get to the next level of this, then I gotta commit the whole way. So I left that job, took a big leap of faith to leave something that I was really comfortable with, to leave a comfort zone and somewhere where you have it real cushy, right? You don't really tend to leave those positions, but I knew if I wanted to grow within myself that it was necessary.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So can you tell us about the experience with the like commercials and like how'd you get into it? And is it one of those things? Because a lot of people when they think about being an entrepreneur or being an influencer, they see the highlights, but they don't see the back end. Can you tell us a little bit about the process of taking that leap of
Right.
faith and the feelings that go with it, and the grind and the grit and the dedication and the blood, the sweat, the tears?
Yeah. So, man, it's exhilarating to be a part of it because it's like a tryout each time. I don't know if you've ever tried out for a sports team or something like that, or a theater or whatever, but you have to make the team, right? So every commercial was like a tryout, right? So they'll post listings of what they need or who they're looking for, and sometimes it's like it'll say like Hispanic male, or sometimes they'll say person with disabilities, or sometimes they'll say people with unique looks or unique accents. There's all kinds of demographics that they're looking for these like projects. And one time it said they're looking for a wheelchair guy, they're looking for a wheelchair user, or someone that could play someone in a wheelchair. And that kind of struck a nerve to me. I'm like, wait, y'all are getting fake wheelchair users to play these things? Like, what? Why would we do that when there's completely capable people like myself that can do it for you, right? So that's when I'm like, okay, well, if I'm gonna talk about it, I got to be about it, right? If I'm gonna keep on getting upset, then I got to actually assert myself and see if I can do it. So I submitted to one of the roles, and like they'll do a FaceTime kind of like this, and they'll see if you got what it takes, and then they'll cast you out. So they'll tell you to go to the spot. Sometimes it's really short notice, which is tricky. That's why I couldn't have my last job, right? So sometimes they'll hit you up today and let you know, hey, we need you tomorrow. Can you show up, right? So yeah, you get all excited and you're like, adrenaline's pumping. Yeah, yeah, they want me, right? I get to go. I get to go hustle, right? So that's exciting. Just getting that call out, letting them letting you know that is on, right? So that's a really exciting feeling. And once you get comfortable with like the process and the platform and knowing that they're all professionals, even the people casting you, right? They're just doing their job too. So once you kind of get it on that same level, it becomes very fluid and almost much smoother, right? So you get less nervous.
Absolutely. Fun fact. So I was supposed to be in the what is it? Equalizer 2 with the Denzel Washington movie.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I had a speaking engagement and they called me and they had me. They said yes and everything. But what happened was
yeah,
I flew back to Atlanta and they wanted me to fly back. And then I just was looking, I was tired and the just the heaviness, and it wasn't sure if they was gonna do that date. And I was like, I'm not gonna be able to do it, and I didn't do it. So I was supposed to be
yeah,
in the Equalizer 2 with Denzel Washington.
yeah. I've let down a couple of commercial opportunities, man, and just because it's such short notice and they really don't give you time. So it's like you either got to drop everything you're doing and go, or you got to just wait for the next one.
Yeah, it was one of those things. This is a long time ago. I think maybe 5, 7 years ago. And I was like, man, I couldn't imagine like just being in that like constant grind. It's like you said, yeah, some you gotta let go, some you gotta continue. It depends on
Right.
if it fits you. But yeah, that's a beautiful thing. So let's transition to the your Instagram, because I feel as though you're an expert at describing how a lot of spinal cord injuries feel through your Instagram. And I think a lot of people don't understand what we go through, positive and negative, and just lifestyle. You do a great job of articulating that message. Why
Thank
is that important to you?
you. It goes back to that stereotype and stigma that I was talking about earlier, right? So I feel like that was around very prominently when I was a kid. Not so much now because again, everybody who follows me knows what I can do, and they know I can play, they know I can do whatever. But I feel like for those who don't know me or those who just see a wheelchair user in passing in public or something, those stigmas and stereotypes might still be actually really alive, right? So I feel like instead of spreading um, the message in a very bitter or rude way, I'd rather shed enlightenment and shed some humor around it, right? So I feel like that gets people attention more than talking down or talking demeaning about accessibility or inclusion or diversity or anything like that. Those are all really serious topics, but nobody wants to be barked at, right? Especially on social media. You go on there to release, you go on there to have fun, you go and watch funny videos, you share them with your friends. I mean, social media that's what it is. It's to be social, right? So I've never been the political type or the type to want to go and get like petition signed or nothing like that. Like I I just never been into that, but I'm more showing you like, hey, look at my perspective and how funny it can seem, but really like funny, not funny. Like this is what we're going through, but even through it all, I'm still trying to share a joke.
Yeah, I love it, man. Definitely keep it up, because it's one of those things where I do my I'm not on the Instagram as much, but when I post more, I start to be on a little bit more. That's what I can't stand. And I watched a few, and every time it's like, dang, you hit it right on the nail, and I can relate and I connect with it, and I'm sure
Yeah,
everybody who is watching
that's
does as well.
yeah, that's what I go for again because it just I don't think it would reach as far if I was just barking all the time or complaining or sounding like I wanted sympathy, because that's not the case. None of us are like that, right? We're normal people, and we're not looking to be treated differently. We're just looking to be treated the same. So when I get to show those differences and those imperfections with reels or memes or whatever, I feel like that's a different approach to kind of shedding awareness and shedding some enlightenment.
Absolutely. Can you tell me about the back end of your process of like, so like you did a commercial, I can't remember, there was just some commercial that you were in, and I think from an outside looking in it looked like there was inclusion. So can you tell me your back end feelings of like being a part of that commercial? You was pointing at a board or something, and you was like,
Oh, okay. Okay,
yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah,
So that that's those are cool. I mean, I like normal commercials too, whether it's me, playing a certain role or a black background character or whatever. But I like the for this one was for Dell, right? And they were highlighting their new monitors. They have these little monitors that are like colleges and high schools where teachers and professors can work on them, right? And they're they're interactive. You can write on them. You can write on them with a stylus and stuff, and you can present to a classroom or a team meeting or something like that. So the accessible feature about this monitor was that it had access for those who were seated. So if you wanted to write a little bit lower, or if you couldn't reach the entire screen, then it would come down for you, and I could access from where I'm seated. So I like those kind of commercials again because it's not only showing inclusiveness from the brand, right? That they want to, show people like myself and show people like that on the screen, but also the manufacturers that they're thinking of us back where they're making the factory. Like, there's real world problems that can be easily fixed, and they're slowly but surely doing it. So it's always fun to do stuff like that.
yeah. Because when I saw it, it definitely gave me a feeling like it was definitely inclusive and it wasn't forced. It didn't feel forced. It
Right.
felt very organic. It felt very natural. And I was just wanted to see like how did you feel about it? Because I just didn't want to take my perspective and say, well, that was
No,
really
yeah.
good.
And I like when they have a mission to show how it's accessible, and they're including us when they're thinking about the product.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. We got to give you an applause for that because at the end of the day, that was a big deal. When I said that, that was Adam, man. He did it for the team. He did it for the team. That was because and you was at the end of the commercial and you just pointed. I was like, boom, because people remember the
Yeah,
beginning and the end. The middle is kind of people don't remember.
exactly.
Yeah, so I love that. That was I didn't see the Seattle. You did a Seattle Seahawk commercial as well, but I didn't get to see that one.
Yeah,
Was it a out or?
that was for the NFL. I did a commercial for the NFL in the Marriott hotels, and that's the commercial that I've actually seen most like live in person. Like they play that one pretty often, like on Monday night football, Thursday night football, and stuff. They air that commercial, and I think they're going to do that all season. So I've seen that one like 3 times already, where I'm just watching the game and I'll see myself on the screen, which is a really cool feeling. But the other ones I've never like seen organically, like I was just watching TV to see myself. But the football one is where I have.
So how do you feel, man?
That,
Like, how do you feel like just chilling and then now you watching yourself on TV?
it's
Like, how does
dope.
that
Yeah,
work?
it happened this last Monday. The Chargers were playing. I think it was the Steelers. I don't know who. I don't know it was Chargers and someone, but they were playing, and I was no Chargers and Jets. It was Chargers and Jets, and then again, it wasn't a really big game. I wasn't hyped about it at all. It wasn't competitive, but the commercial came on, and I was just sitting there watching, and I was like, man, that dude looks familiar. It was one of the other guys, one of the other actors, and I was like, wait, this is my commercial. And then my scene comes on, and I was like, yeah, I'm like cheering louder than I did for the game, right? So it was cool, man. It's a cool.
Yeah, man, that's an amazing feeling because sometimes when like you watch, especially if you're watching basketball, football, your brain is kind of relaxed. You're not really thinking about it. You probably forgot you did the commercial. And then you watching it and
Exactly.
boom, you pop on. That's an amazing feeling. I can
Yeah.
only imagine. Well, I did a national public PSA for mentorship, but that was a while ago. I was like maybe 10, 15 years ago.
Right.
And that hit national uh exposure. But yeah, it's great to see, and I definitely is looking forward to see you in more, because I think we have I don't know, just tell me what you think. I think we have a long way to go as far as us for representation, and whether it be in movies, whether it be in the business space, whether it be in education space, we have ways to go and a lot of more work to do. And I believe that you're doing a lot of great work, and I want to continue to applaud you and celebrate you, because you're opening doors for a lot of us, and I want to give you your flowers. You know what I mean? Because we need it. So
Thanks, bro. I appreciate that.
nah, it's my pleasure, my pleasure. So let's see what we have here. So tell us more about the adapt to achieve. What is adapt to achieve? Because you obviously are a living testimony of adapt to achieve. But for those who don't know, what is adapt to achieve?
Right. Adapt and achieve is a mantra that I slowly made a lifestyle. Right. Like I just remember. I remember back in, I don't remember what year it was. It may be 2012, something like that. Kobe, I'm a huge Kobe fan, and he had a lot of injuries going out. He had his Achilles going out. He had a lot of hand problems, and one of his responses that he did in the interview was, he said that I might not be able to do everything that I could before, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to adapt my game and still give my team whatever that I got. And that just resonated so much with me. You know what I mean? Because again, not that I was able-bodied before, but not that I saw the similarities, right? So I can't give everything like an able-bodied person can to the sport, but I can give what I have, right? I have two good hands. I have a good head. I got a good brain on my shoulders, so where I can make those right play calls and make the right decisions when it comes to it. But I feel like I can still utilize those tools that I've been given, those that I have, even though if I'm not performing on my legs. You know what I mean? So I feel like that's where it kind of adapted and achieved started. Like, okay, I might be able to get the process the same way, but I can still get the same result. I just got to adapt and achieve it a different way.
I love it. I love it. There you have it. Adam Lucio, adapt and achieve. At the end of the day, like I always say, I can do everything, but we do it differently. So Adam has definitely be
Yeah.
the greatest example of doing things differently and adapting and achieving. So is there anything else that you want to tell the audience about you, or where they can
Man,
find you?
no, yeah, for sure. You can always find me on my platforms. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and it's just my name, ADAM underscore LUCIO. And I want to give you your flowers as well too, man. I just want to thank you for shedding light and shedding awareness and being a positive voice and role model for the community. You know what I mean? Because it's hard out here, and we don't all reach the same people. We all have different topics that we reach out to, different communities and different people that look up to us and follow us. And I feel like what you're doing on your platform is amazing and something that was much needed in our community. So thank you for it, man. Keep grinding, and I know that we're going to see each other at the top.
There you have it. There you have it. Adapting, achieve, and we owning our inspiration. Until next time, this is Ray Grandoit, and of course, the number one, Adam Lucio. Until next time.